What's up, everybody? Welcome to another video of Beyond the Pieces with your boys Xavi and Law. What's up, Law?
How y'all doing?
Sir, we're happy. We're really happy about this video. This is a good one, man. How do you feel about this video?
I think it's gonna be a great one. I think it's gonna be a great one. Not to toot our own horn, but
Yes, sir.
no better time than the present time. So let's get into it.
Absolutely, man. So accountability, the topic of the day, accountability. What is accountability to you, man?
To me, accountability is um having the having the awareness and the ability to say I am okay with this decision regardless of the result. Right. So if that means you take, for example, the game winning shot and you go up, boom. Yes, everybody love to remember when you make the shot. But what about when you don't? Right? Can you still be accountable for, yeah, I was the one that missed. Can you still raise your hand then? And I think accountability is just that, and that whatever the outcome is, I'm okay with taking the blame, so to speak, for whatever action occurred. So I think that without that aspect of, because it's great you can take accountability and responsibility for any of your decisions when things go right. But the
Yeah.
hard part is doing it when things go wrong or when it's uncomfortable for you to, right? When it's not at your most benefit. So, um, yeah, I think accountability is understanding that and still making the decision you felt best. How would you define accountability?
Yeah. Uh, I'd say, I know it feels like we've had this conversation before, but yeah, I would go along with a lot of what you said. A matter of like, are you thinking about what if you don't make the shot? What if it goes your way? What if it doesn't go your way? Are you still going to be man enough to, to take that and admit your faults, admit your flaws, and move forward? So, but I also would say that part of being accountability is what is holding you to a certain standard. Whatever your goal is, whatever it is, whether it's with work, school, family, personal, a personal goal you have, whether it's like you just want to self improve on your body, or you know what I mean, like so many different things that everyone has a goal, makes a goal towards. Um, I think that's what it is. It's that in between from where you are and your goal. So how are you going to get from point A to point B? And it's not just, I don't think it's, I mean, obviously you have to remain consistent throughout it, but how are you going to remain consistent? Who is holding you accountable? How are you holding yourself accountable? So that's what it means. It's kind of defining that in between where you are and your goals. That's how I would define it.
So, do you have an example of you being accountable that you can remember that may be a recent memory?
Yeah. I mean, I feel like I guess I encounter accountability. That's not,
Tongue
but
twister.
yeah, I mean, I hold myself accountable really every day. I try every day to kind of progress towards what I want to do. But for me, it's a matter of how what I'm doing affects others around me. So if I don't show up, how is that going to affect those that are within my household? You know what I mean? So for me, I've explained before that I did get married August of last year, and I felt like, I mean, I was working my way up to the type of responsibilities that come with being a husband, um, and it was fine. Like I was taking it in stride, and then when you finally get to that day where you come back from your wedding or your honeymoon, where it kind of sits in like, dang, it's not just me anymore. So everything, the level of importance that everything had, kind of, I mean, it should, at least, it should elevate for you. And that's what it did for me, because I realized that I am now responsible for my wife. I'm responsible for my dog. I have to make sure that we have lights and that we have a house to be under, food on the table. So a lot of it was just putting myself in the middle and realizing who I have to take care of, who I have to make sure is good. And it's not even just about physical, like it's not just about like physical things to give them. Like it's not all about the money, but I'm just saying, like, the fact that I am kind of a center and there's just a bunch of different stems going to different areas, that's what shows me that connection of I am responsible for this, this, and this. That's what holds me accountable.
So, question: how do
What's
you
up?
make sure that for you? How do you make sure that you're holding yourself accountable without also not um over criticizing yourself for moments that you may count something a failure, right? So say like you're working on a project and this project has to be done because your wife wants, say she wants a porch, right? So and you have to build it. And it's supposed to be done in a week, but it takes you longer than a week, right?
Yeah.
And so let's say you count that as a failure because it was supposed to be done in a week, blah blah blah. How do you still hold yourself accountable for what you said versus what was actually possible with the resources of time and materials that you may have had?
So it sounds like it's your question is like, how do you basically process
Balance.
even when you come up short on holding yourself accountable,
Correct, correct.
right? Yeah. And I think we kind of talked about that a little bit as well, but just breathe. Me, especially being a prior athlete, um, but also always just wanted to self improve. I mean, I'm always harder on myself than anyone else could be. So I mean, that's kind of it's it's not just not gonna happen just because I'm being attentive on not being hard on myself. So yeah, what I try to do is I just breathe and realize that it's not the end of the world. A conversation I had with my dad was, and it was funny because I think it happened about 2 weeks before I got married, and he was telling me there are life and death there are life situations and there are death situations, and he was basically just telling me that because I had situations come up where I always thought like, man, this is the end. This is the end. Like, oh, this bill came, I don't have enough to pay for it. This is the end. I'm gonna be on the streets. I'm gonna be, you know what I mean? Like, but then it never happened that way because I kept moving and I kept working, you know. Um, but that conversation I really needed. So I kind of look at everything in that sense of like, is this really worth me responding in a way as if this is life or death? If it's not, that's fine. It tells me it kind of brings down my level of stress or my level of anxiety down a little bit. It's like, dude, it's not that bad because automatically I'm looking at solutions. All right, this is what I could do. This is what I could do. This is what I could do. What would really stress me out is when I feel like there's no solution. You know what I mean? So it kind of is a step back, take a minute to evaluate what happened. All right, now once you did the evaluation, is it still as big of a deal as you thought it was? Most often, it really isn't. But we have a tendency to move off of our adrenaline. We have a tendency to think, especially as men, we're very much like, fix it. It's like, no, it's broken. I need to fix it. Let's go. But if it was a matter of a race, you know what I mean? And you have a man, like two different men, right? And then it says ready, set, go. And then one person's first looking at the problem, doesn't move, and he's just looking at the problem. But the other person's already getting to work. He's just going in. The person that's sitting back and looking at the problem, he's figuring out, okay, I could probably do this. I could probably do this. And you kind of point out, like, not even really like shortcuts, but you realize what is wasted movement. You know what I mean? Like cutting
Correct.
that out.
Correct.
Yeah,
It's like the water analogy where it's like if you have raging water, it's like you can't see through it. Nothing is clear. But if it's calm and it's so everything becomes clear. And
yeah,
it's like that, like you said, when you take that step back and you think about what are my options? What do I have? What can I do?
exactly.
Versus the sky's falling, the sky's falling. Like what did we get accomplished? You know? Um I find that
Yeah.
very interesting though. Um,
We can
that
only do that for so long though. Like, I mean, because you're supposed to be, as a man, you're supposed to be the head of your household. So, I mean, that's going to happen. It's not to say that it's never going to happen where you're just going to be like Mr. Incredible, like everything's fine, like you respond appropriately to every single situation. No, like I failed so many different times. I've overreacted, you know what I mean? I've underreacted. Like I've failed more times than I have succeeded. But because I've acknowledged the failures and have gotten over my ego, that's what allows me to succeed where it needs to happen. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah. Putting ego in the back seat. That's
so
big.
what
That's
about you,
real big.
man? What about you? What's the situation you had where you had to be accountable?
I'll say most recently, I'll say my niece, right? Where I had to take accountability for um some of the things I wasn't making enough time for, right? Um, and understanding like where that came from and all of that, all of those different things. But I will say, in taking accountability for some of the moments I missed, some of the emotions that she let out, right? Um, I think I have become better for it because stuff I didn't even see, I didn't know meant as much. And I told her, like I understand, like this is what you want. I was like, but I never thought about it this way. I was always looking at this or focused on this, right? And just holding myself accountable to no, I may not have meant something that way, but that's how it came off. And so I'm responsible for the way I made you feel too. Right. Even though and two, I started looking at my life and I'm like, yo, I do that a lot. Where it's like, oh, uh, like say we gonna take a guys trip next year, right? And I'm like, okay, cool. Everybody just need X amount of dollars. Only thing on my mind is like getting X amount of dollars to like lock the trip in, right?
Yeah,
But it's like in doing that, I might miss more phone calls. I might not have as much time to spend, right? I might not indulge in as many extracurricular activities because I'm focused on this one goal. And once I achieve it, then I can go back to focusing on all that other stuff.
right.
But it's like I don't hold myself accountable for how that may make somebody else feel. Where it's like, oh, you was checking up, and now you're not checking up at all no more. So yeah, definitely a lesson learned. Um,
When did that moment hit then, where you realized that you probably should take some accountability?
Whenever I realized what I was working for didn't mean as much to her as it did to me, right? So for me, it was like I'm gonna do all these things so that you can have a better opportunity, or you can have this, or you can have that, and it's like that don't mean as much as you just being there. Like that stuff, the other stuff will figure itself out anyway. But
Yeah,
like these moments, these memories in time we'll never be able to recreate. And that's what's funny. And so for those of y'all who are listening, you can create another dollar, but once somebody grow up, you can't recreate the baby memories. Like once they grown, they grown. So yeah, take accountability too for the way you make them feel for the moments you miss, even if the money not the problem. So yeah,
that's good. That's good. It sounds like a lot of your accountability, or I guess it seems like you feel a lot more weight of accountability when it comes to your family. Would that be all right?
very much so because I've always looked at it as there's my family and then it's my people. Like my people is my people, but my family is my family. And so with family, it's those are the ones who like I ain't got a dollar. They know I ain't got a dollar, but they know I'm not gonna tell them I don't have a dollar. So if we go eat, they just gonna be wondering how I got the food because they know I don't have no money, right? But
Yeah,
they still there supporting. Um, that's family. Like them the ones I know if I pick up the phone and call, I'm gonna be surprised if they don't answer. Like, dude,
yeah,
what? Like, so but
yeah,
then you got like my people too. So like when I say that, I just mean people who show love to me. Like I show love to you back. Right? Like them my people. It don't matter what color your skin is, don't matter what your hair look like, none of that. So it's just them my people. You show love to me, so I show love to you. It's a respect thing now.
yeah.
Um so for my people, it's like I always look out for my people where it's like, okay, again, you show love to me, so like I'm gonna do this thing that maybe I'm not supposed to do, but like it'll help you along the way, because that's what that is. But with my family, it's like nah, like don't touch them, cause that's all I got. You know what I'm saying? Um, like
Gotta
that's
stick to
my
you.
sanity, if you will. So it's
Absolutely.
yeah,
I appreciate you sharing that, man. I feel like that kind of cut a layer deeper into what actually matters here. Like, I mean, yeah, we're talking about what keeps us accountable, and family is a huge, huge indicator of that. Like of what's gonna keep us moving, what's gonna keep us pushing towards our goals, what's gonna, help us improve. It's kind of, I mean, that's the most vulnerable we are is when we are with our families. So I appreciate you for sharing that, man.
That's just I just see like, and it's funny because I know it sounds cliche. I know it's old. I know we've heard it all 1,000 times, but it's like the only thing you actually have left after all the money go away is family. So if you
Right.
don't have family, you ain't have nothing to start with. Because it's like, yeah, I can make $100 trillion in a lifetime, right? Pass it
Yeah.
down, pass it down, pass it down. But all it takes is one foolish child. All it takes is two generations, right? And
Yeah.
all of the money can be gone. All that's left is family. So it's like if they was connected before, because they was connected as family, and the money was a bonus.
Yeah.
That's great because they'll still have peace either way. But if all they had was the money and that was holding them together, they no longer have a bond,
Yeah.
right? So it's
I got
like,
you.
yeah, pay attention to what matters. Be accountable for the moments in life you can't get back.
Yeah.
Yes, and that's what's funny too is I find it extremely interesting how you can take the average person, mom or dad, right? And as soon as they find out they're becoming a mom or dad, there's a whole nother gear they can kick into. And so it's like,
Yeah.
where was this gear the entire time? Was it not there? Like, no, the gear was always there. You just never used it because you never forced yourself to, right? You never put yourself in that fight or flight. So it's like, hold yourself accountable to that too. So before you say, oh, I can't afford, or oh, I can't do, or oh, I can't, if you want to figure it out, you'll figure it out.
Right. Yep.
So it's the same thing. It's just you got to figure out how to hit that button for you without the pressure always having to be on, right? Without somebody always having to twist your arm for you to get up and go to work, or if somebody twist your arm for you to get up and go um volunteer or go cut hair or go clean up the sidewalk. Like go do something. Like why do somebody have to twist your arm for that? Hold yourself accountable to you just want to be a better person today. You want to help your community just a touch. Like yeah, hold yourself accountable. Don't make it where life has put stress on you and it's required you to now seek more because now you're trying to do it in a shorter time frame. When if you just do that anyway, not only do you get to like play with the theories you have and test the theories and stuff a lot more soundly and
Yeah.
poke holes in it, but now you actually get to test it out in real life with no pressure.
Yeah.
So it's like,
Absolutely.
all right, you got 3 kids to feed, you a single dad, go.
Yeah.
What your life look like on the day to day? And you working super, you like, oh, I had this job, I do this, I do this, I do that.
Yeah.
All right, you single with no no kids right now. So why are you doing none of those things? You know,
Yep.
just taking some accountability so you can be there for those moments that matter.
Absolutely, man. It sounds like we're pushing kind of into the realm of like being a man of your word. I mean, if you say
Indeed.
that you're gonna do something, do it. Actually just do it. Um, tell
No,
me,
we're
tell
not
me, tell
sponsored
me.
by Nike.
Yeah, right. But yeah, no, like elaborate on that a little bit, man, about being a man of your word.
So, like you said, if you said you're gonna do something, do it. So that means rain, sleet, or snow, you gotta go. So if you're not sure that you can do something for somebody, you make sure you include that in your sentence, right?
Hmm.
And I was just telling somebody about this the other day, where there's a difference between if you tell me I'm gonna be at your birthday party Tuesday, right? That's different than if you say I plan to be at your birthday party Tuesday. Two different sentences. Why? Because I plan to be means that yes, I did plan it out, but things may not work to plan.
May
So
or may not be
if
there.
correct, if I don't show up, understand that I planned it. My
Yeah,
objective was to be there. It did not happen.
right.
But if I say I'm gonna be at your birthday party on Tuesday, that means unless unless I get four flats in the snow, can't Uber, cards locked, like
Yeah.
can't walk, can't jog, legs broken, like I have to be pretty much unconscious
Yeah.
to not be there,
Yeah.
right?
Mhm.
And it's because I told you that. And it's like it don't matter how much it burdened me. I should have thought about that before I told you that. Because now I
Right.
got your hopes up. Because you like, oh, such and such said they coming. And I when you say that I'm coming, I want it to be, I'm gonna be there, but you wondering who else gonna be there. You know what I'm saying? That's
Right.
being a man of your word because every time you say something, you mean what you say. Like I'm not gonna tell you, yeah, I'm gonna be at your dentist appointment, and I know I have no plan to be there. I'm be, oh, I might make it, or no, I don't think I'm gonna make it to that one. Like, ain't no need in me lying to you and getting your hopes up.
Yeah.
Cause now when
Exactly.
I actually tell you something, I need you to believe it. You gonna be like, you fall through every other time. You fall through
Exactly.
again. So
Yep. That's you, man. It's like you're building a reputation for yourself. I mean, you are a representation of wherever you're from, but yeah, like if you're just this person that always falls through, that's how people are going to look at you. They're going to look at someone who's unreliable, someone that they cannot count on. And that's the whole point of this video is it. I mean, obviously it is hard, especially for some of us that might feel overwhelmed, especially as I mean, I'm speaking from a man's standpoint, but like I know people in general, sometimes we tend to take on more than we can handle. You know what I mean? Like it's
very
like, all
much
right,
so.
well, and it comes from, and I will say that if you are the type of person that keeps on just saying yes to everything, knowing that you probably cannot actually do it, but somehow you make it happen, I will say that I think that it does make you a good person. But I also think that you are basically digging yourself a deeper and deeper hole because slowly but surely, you are lacking in areas that you cannot lack in. You know what I mean? You're becoming unreliable to the person that you thought that you were being that guy and being reliable because you said that you could make it, but every time you say you can make it, you show up about 30 minutes late. Like, and it's not even just about the timing thing. I'm just saying, like, if you end up coming up short because you're taking up all these things that you thought you could do, man, I need to stop talking like I'm talking about someone else. This is like the definition of me, man. Like I have a tendency to do that. I have a
It's
tendency
just
to like I feel like I tend to get it not like I could. I mean I do. Let me stop that now. I do because I do feel like I can do everything that I put my mind to. But there are go ahead. It sounds like you were gonna say something. Go ahead.
it's not about proving it though. And that's the
Right.
part that makes it hard is because you're like, yeah, I can do that. Yeah, I can do that. Yeah. And you like, and that's some of that is you just having confidence in yourself and that you understand like there's nothing you can't do if you put your mind to it. So when someone
Right.
asks you, can you do such and such? You're like, yeah, I can do it. And that's the truth, right? The
Yeah.
truth is you can. However, the truth also is that everybody needs rest at some point. And so if you're doing this for them and that for them and that for her and this for them and this for them, it's like, well, one, when do you ever do anything for yourself? And then two, when are you
Yep.
resting? So
Exactly.
the body is not built. I don't care what sport you play, what type of training regimen you have. The body is not built to just run all the time. There are times the body needs to decompress and rest, and the mind is a muscle too. So
Yep.
it's like your brain has to just take a break sometimes. Your body has to take a break sometimes. The hard part in like saying yes and learning to say like, no, I'm not gonna be able to make it to that one. Even if you don't have nothing to do, right? And I'm not saying go out here missing graduations, because graduations, hey, that's once in a lifetime for some people.
Yeah, be
Everybody
that.
don't get two, three of them. So if they
Right.
graduate and go. But if
Hmm.
it's something like, oh, I'm singing this Sunday in church. Hey, when the next Sunday you gonna be singing? Cause I'm gonna have to catch you on that one. I'm not going to your church this Sunday. I'm going to my church this Sunday, right? That type of thing. It's just drawing barriers, holding yourself accountable for those barriers. And
Yeah.
that don't mean putting up walls. Walls only trap you in, right? So don't put up walls, just draw boundaries. Have respected lines that people understand, hey, this is my space,
Yep.
right? and
That's a
you
good thing
have to
too.
hold yourself accountable for those too, because the thing about the boundaries is you don't need boundaries with enemies, right? You need boundaries with friends, because it's like, yo, we friends, but like, here's the line, right? It's just a respected line, and that's
Yeah.
all. But it doesn't mean you got to build up a wall so that, like, nah, it's not that. It's not that. And so I think it's a balance thing, and holding yourself accountable to, if someone does cross that line with you, and they may not know it, right? They may do something or say something that crosses that boundary, and you just have to tell them, like, yo, like, that's a boundary right there. Like, I don't appreciate that, right? But if you don't do that, then your boundaries slowly get smaller and smaller until you have no boundaries
Can't blame anyone.
except yourself.
Yep. Absolutely. I mean, we talked about it a little bit. You can only control yourself. You can't control what other people do. So, I mean, you should have an expectation. I expect other people to make mistakes that, I guess that I wouldn't agree with or that I probably even couldn't see myself doing because I can't control them. You're in control of yourself. And once you realize that if you don't feel like you're in control of yourself, that's probably a high indicator. All right, let me work on myself. What am I doing that makes me feel like I'm out of control? What am I doing that makes me feel like I'm overwhelmed? Or makes me feel that I'm lazy? Or makes me feel like this? It starts to make you look within. We did talk about all these different outside factors that hold you accountable, but there's also a point where you do have to look within to actually be able to be that person that is reliable. You had mentioned earlier that, what was it? It was about like, I mean, you said like going to graduations, being reliable. Saying no doesn't make you less reliable. Now, I would say maybe saying no all the time, especially in times where you need to be there. Like it's a request, but it's not really a request. You need to be there, such as a wedding or a graduation or even going to work. Those are things that are requirements. Okay, so you see what I'm saying? Is what I'm
Yeah.
saying. You can still say no and be a reliable person. That's what and the way that it is because when you do say yes, are you following through? When
Correct.
you say yes, you're going to be there. And every single time you said yes, you follow through, automatically you're reliable. So it's not like that. It's not like a matter of okay, well, I've been reliable, right? But I can't do this one. I really just can't do it. But I want to tell them that I can do it because I don't want them to feel like I don't care about them or that I can't help them. So if I can't say no to them because they're going to look at me and think that I'm not reliable or that I don't care. That's not the case at all. If anything, if you already built a reputation of being a reliable person, the minute that you say no, they're not even going to question it because they
Correct.
know, like, man, this person never says no. This person never says no. He always follows through on everything he does. There must be a reason. And whatever that reason is, it's important. And they're not going to push it
It's
because, like you
respected.
said earlier about bringing those boundaries, you made a boundary. What's funny is you made a boundary by being there for them. That's what
Hmm.
you did. You made a boundary by being a reputable person, a responsible person, holding yourself accountable. That's what you did. You made boundaries. So now when you say that you know you can't do something, or if you're actually being attentive to what you got going on, and it's not even a matter of like, oh, you have something else going on. It could be point blank that you need a me day. Today's me. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like I know this is what
Self
you have
love.
going on. I know you need help moving out this and this, but I'm just letting you know I can't come today. I'll come tomorrow. Today I had already put this on the schedule. I have to take one for myself today. I'm feeling a little overwhelmed. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Again, that's really hard, especially coming from, someone who wants to be the man that's there for everybody, the man that can fix everything, but you can't. You won't and you can't. And you're going to mess up. And guess what? You're prone to make a lot more mistakes when you keep on piling stuff up. Cause now you're piling stuff up, but now what's the nice way I could say it for a video like this? You're half butting it. You know what I mean? Now you're half butting every
You're
single
half
thing.
pacing. Yeah.
You're not you aren't doing it to its full potential. Everything that you do, you're doing it to the 50% of completion. You know what I mean? Or to the 50% of the quality that you could normally do. You know what I mean? And then that's even worse because now you feel like because you're there for everyone, you said that you're going to be there for everyone or do everything you said you were going to do, but you're only doing it at 50%. You think that, oh, well, yeah, I mean, I'm there for everyone. Everyone must trust me. Everyone must think I'm reliable. But that's not the case. Because low key, everyone's looking at you like, bro, like you said that you were going to move out my whole house. You moved 2 boxes into the truck. Dang, man, you said you were going to come to work, but you showed up late for work again. You know what I mean? You like now you are having the opposite effect. And it's even worse because you're digging yourself into a hole, right? You're feeling
Yep.
overwhelmed, but you're feeling overwhelmed of doing things half butt the whole time. So now you're probably feeling like a failure. You're probably feeling like you're not adequate. You know what I mean? Like these are all different possibilities that can happen all because you don't know how to say no.
And
You
you
feel me?
got to take accountability for your inability to say no.
Exactly. Exactly. It's
It
so
starts
important, man.
in the mirror.
Hmm. It's so important, man, and real because I feel like I've experienced that myself. I mean, I'm not just talking about these imaginary things and trying to apply them to you guys or whoever's listening. This is actually what I have gone through. I've gone
Facts.
through moments where I've been overwhelmed. I've also gone through moments where I've been lazy. I've been accountable. I haven't been accountable. I've been a reliable person. I haven't been reliable. But it's all part of life and it's about acknowledging it all. You have to. So yeah, man. That's what I got. You have anything you wanna take them out with?
I just think that when it comes to accountability, it starts in the mirror. So if you hold yourself accountable, then you have the opportunity to understand the burden of holding others accountable, right? So now when you can look at you and go, you know what, I'm not perfect. I don't hold myself accountable every day. You
Yep.
understand that even though you may tell somebody else, hey, I don't like when you do XYZ, can you not do that? And you tell them that this may be a trigger for you, it, you understand what it's like when they come up short, right? That they
Right.
may be trying to hold themselves accountable, but because you hold yourself accountable, you understand how hard it can be to actually put that into practice. So you're more forgiving because of it. So you're overall becoming a better person because you looked yourself in the mirror and started taking accountability for your life. So, with that being said, until next time, we're your host. He's Xavi. I'm Law. And this has been Beyond the Pieces. Unscripted at that. Till next time. Peace.
That's